Lecture topic: Combating ill thoughts.
One of the main ways that Shaitaan tries to derail somebody from their path, from their direction, one of the things is to get them involved in some kind of problem somewhere, with an argument, with some kind of fight with somebody, some dispute somewhere. So this is one of Shaitaan's traps. When a person gets caught up in some kind of fight, some argument, some problem of this nature, then this is going to occupy his mind, going to occupy his heart. Then whether he's performing his Salah, whether he's doing something else, this will be the thing that will be now at the top of his mind, and his concentration will all be lost, his attention will all be divided into all these numerous arguments and fights here and there and everywhere. So this is one of Shaitaan's chief plans and traps. But now these arguments, disputes, sometimes there is some valid basis from which somebody now got offended about something, somebody was harmed in some way, so they have to take it up or they have to sort it out. But that too has to happen in a dignified manner. That too has to happen in a way that is within the limits of Sharia to start off with, obviously, and then within the limits of dignity. And it's not that if somebody else has stooped to a very childish level or even beyond that, then we also stoop to that level. Somebody has stooped to the level of some vulgarity, so we also stoop to that level. Somebody has stooped to the level of being childish, being completely out of line in terms of how they're conducting themselves and what they're saying, so we stoop to that level also. So in any case, that's another entire discussion, but what was meant to be discussed today is that these issues that come up very often, one of the root causes of this is gumani, person harboring some kind of ill thought, some suspicion, which stems out of nothing. It stems out of an assumption. There's an assumption, and that assumption then becomes a fact in our hearts and minds. But it's only an assumption. So sometimes if somebody has said something, that statement might have been very innocent, there might have been no issue at all with that statement, but there's an assumption in our mind of why was that statement made. So now the assumption is that this person was trying to hint at me. Now that's the assumption. We didn't go into his heart to see whether he was really hinting at us. If we take the hint out, there was nothing wrong with it. Now because we thought he was hinting at us, so now it sounded like sarcastic to us. Because now a hint would be done in a sarcastic manner. So that was number one, our assumption that this person hinted at us. Because we thought he was hinting at us, so this entire statement sounded sarcastic. Now because we thought that this was sarcastic, so we felt that now this is offensive. So a sarcastic statement is offensive. So now this person is deliberately offending me. Now after this has settled in the heart and mind, now everything about that person is now treated with suspicion. Every statement of his, every action of his, that this is some ulterior motive involved here. Now the most innocent of things, we are looking for the ulterior motive. But the ulterior motive is not there. There's no ulterior motive because it's just not existing. But now when this builds up, 1 time, 2 times, 5 times in our mind, eventually we react. Now we reacting with all this like a fact, whereas nothing, there's no reality to it at all. Now some statement we made which was completely offline. We are thinking this person said 5 things, I said 1. Whereas all the 5 things he said was nothing. Because there's all that in our mind. Now many a times, things are just stemming out of assumptions. Just an assumption. Imam Ghazali rahmatullahi says all this is also ghibah of the heart. And it's sometimes buhtan of the heart. There's no reality to it, then it's beyond ghibah. And if there was some reality to it and a person is running it in his mind, but this person is like this and that person is like that, that person said this and that person did that, this is ghibah of the heart. So one is verbal ghibah, the person is sitting and talking to somebody ill about somebody else, and this is ghibah of the heart. So now, when a person is going to be engaging in this ghibah of the heart, good amount of time is going away in this, what light is going to be left in that heart, what nur is going to be left, and where there's going to be any space for now, the remembrance of Allah Ta'ala. So these assumptions, these unnecessary ill thoughts, and the very simple ilaj of all this is to build up within us the habit of Husn ta'wil. This is also of one of the tabi'een. The statement is that treat this su'u zan with Husn ta'wil. You make a positive interpretation because you have no basis for what is being thought about in the first case. And even if there is some indications, what indications is our mind often. But you make a positive interpretation of it and move on. What loss did somebody suffer by making a positive interpretation about some matter, some statement, thought, some action, whatever, made a positive interpretation and moved on? We are light, we got no weight on our head and mind, and it saves us from so many problems going forward. So that Husn ta'wil, but it saves one from such major sins. Iyakum wazzan fa inna dhanna akdhabul hadith. Nabi Islam says, refrain from the suspicions, it's the worst lie. Because after a while a person starts believing his own lie. It's got no basis, he's treating it as a fact. And then from that so many things stem forward. Allah Ta'ala save us from all these major calamities and keep us steadfast on deen at all times, inshallah.
अल्लाह अल्लाह कैसा प्यारा नाम है, आशिकों का मीना और जाम है।